Hi, my name is Daisy. Welcome to my presentation. Um, Today I'll be talking about an important topic in Chicano education. Okay, so the main question I will be discussing is, how do bilingual classes affect students and shape their schooling experience? So I first wanted to start with my experience since I am a Mexican American. I was born and raised here in San Diego, so I just really wanted to start with my experience of my education in San Diego and the bilingual programs compared to how they are now. So I started kindergarten in 1999. I was in bilingual classes from kindergarten to third grade. I went to Kempton Elementary in Spring Valley. That's East County, La Mesa Spring Valley School District. So yeah, very lucky. So I had to take a test to be able to take bilingual classes. They wanted to test the kids to see if they knew Spanish enough in order to be able to even understand the instruction during class. So I had to take a test and I passed it since I in my household we're Spanish and English speaking, mostly English, but I learned Spanish also. So it does feel like a privilege that I was able to have that experience. I thought it was important to mention that one of the classes was even half second grade and half third grade. Um, I was in second grade, and so I was with older students in that class, and I just thought that was something really cool to mention. Also, just to compare to how programs are now. Like I said, I feel very lucky and fortunate with my experience in my education compared to the other students in this course that I took in Chicano education. Um, they had terrible experiences. Uh, they pretty much said that they didn't get paid attention to unless they were in a charter school or continuation school, and I didn't have that experience. Where I went to school in Spring Valley, I was advanced since elementary school, and my middle school and high school was really good at talking about college from the beginning, and my high school was really good at telling us like, oh, maybe it's smarter to go to community college first, and they even had like financial aid workshops that they would let us know about, so we knew exactly what to do. And it just really sucked hearing other students didn't have that experience, and when they also came to school here in San Diego. And yeah, and I wanted to compare it to, oh, I put in a picture of me in elementary school because the bilingual, like my brother would say, the Spanish kids, they did have like their own like little crowd, and they did stand out because we like to wear this uniform. I used to love to wear my uniform, um, almost like how they do in Tijuana, but I loved it. I loved getting dressed, and I don't know. But after third grade bilingual class finished, we went to strictly English fourth and fifth grade, and that's when I feel like the stigma just smacked me in my face, because I made different friends, and my bilingual friends, like, we kind of stopped being friends. So that's when this I started noticing the stigma for fourth grade and beyond. So I wanted to talk about my niece's experience. Um, she moved here from Tijuana to San Diego when she was in third grade. Her parents decided that she would probably have a better education here in San Diego. Her mom is a US citizen, so my niece is technically a US citizen also. So she had no problem coming over here, enrolling in school and all that. But like I said, she had a completely different experience compared to me. Um, Both of our elementary schools are in Spring Valley, California, here in San Diego, East County, same school district, La Mesa, Spring Valley. But I discovered she moved here. Her elementary school does not offer bilingual classes. So I was trying to interview her and ask her experience of like how she feels as a Spanish speaker at her school. And she would explain to me that she had no trouble adjusting, but the adults overheard our conversation, the little interview I was having with her, and they told me pretty much she did have trouble. She has trouble with reading and math. And yeah, I asked her how much English did they teach her in Tijuana, and she said that they would only talk about English for like 20 minutes in class. And like I said, our family are English speakers, so she knows English from that, and I'm pretty sure from like tablet and TV. But she did have a hard time, still does, with her reading and her math. So why? My question was, why would she lie? My only thing is that she embarrassed because of the stigma that she probably faces at school. Um, because I know how that is. I asked her how many students there is, Spanish speakers, and she's like, oh, 2 and 3. Um, they do pull her out of class to test her, like they did to me, and stuff like that. So they do help her. There is programs, but they do not offer bilingual classes. Um, when she started school, they just put her in a classroom with a teacher that knew a little bit of Spanish, so she could communicate with her a little bit. And I just thought that was crazy and ridiculous, because 20 years later, how stuff can change. And it's crazy because both elementary schools are in Spring Valley, but just opposite ends of Spring Valley, and it's important to note the difference. So the first study I looked into was a study on Spanish-speaking first graders. So this study is to see how bilingual programs help with reading comprehension and the effects of instructing classes in students' native languages. They wanted to see how different programs worked from California to Texas. So the results showed, if students are taught in their native language, they have better outcomes in their comprehension and reading. And the study found that regardless of location or the program, what they noticed was if you teach the student in their native language, they'll learn better, which is common sense, in my opinion. The next study was teacher inquiry in bilingual classrooms. So this study was teachers used a method called CIC, Sujishita's classrooms inquiry model. They used this to learn and understand the skills they needed when teaching the ELL students, English language learner students. And what the study showed was that when the teachers used the CIC model, it was effective for the teachers and the students because the teachers were aware of what the students needed. So the way they teach had a positive impact on the students, clearly. So that's what we need to do moving forward with bilingual programs or Spanish speaker programs. Teachers need to focus on what the students need so they know how to teach these students. And I think this will ultimately avoid the knowledge gap bilingual students face because they do not understand instruction. So teachers need to learn what these students need. So the next study was middle class English speakers in a two-way immersion bilingual classroom. So this study was done to show how two-way immersion bilingual classes function and how it affects students' attitudes, comparing middle class and lower class students. And the study was done on second graders. So a two-way immersion class is a mix of Spanish and English speakers that have primary focus on the Spanish speakers, minority language Spanish speakers, but it also offered a foreign language experience to English speaking children. And usually they share the same teacher in those types of classrooms. And I think that's what I experienced, a two-way immersion class. So the results of that study, the study showed that um, the middle class students will assert their dominance inside and outside of the classroom by pushing for attention and to claim their status as English speakers and middle class. So when they did this, it resulted in making the English language more pertinent in the classroom. So, and because of that, Spanish speakers ended up learning more English than English speakers learned Spanish because English was more dominant in the classroom. And my question is this the cause of stigma that bilingual students face? If they're in a classroom and English middle class speakers are more loud, assertive, dominant, it minimizes the Spanish speakers and it makes English more important in the classroom. And so, in my opinion, that is the cause of the stigma within bilingual students at school. I think it is important to embrace both languages and to teach the students to embrace both languages. This is another study I found on language, how language affects intergroup contact. So this study focused on attitudes of the students in the classroom from kindergarten to second grade. So what happens when there is more Latino representation in the classroom? Classrooms with greater representation of bilingual students had no effect on white children's personal self-evaluation. So it didn't make them feel like, oh, Spanish is more important. Spanish speakers are more important. When Spanish was being used in the classroom, English speakers learn Spanish, which has a positive impact within the group because it's showing that we're all learning Spanish, we're all learning English together, which, in my opinion, helps end the stigma Spanish speakers face. We need to show students that both languages are important. We're in San Diego, California. So, in conclusion, these studies that I found show nothing but positive impacts of bilingual programs in the schools. I think America should provide the necessary programs for their students. Education is crucial in the society. And so not providing the right education for US citizens is unfair. That's what really bothered me with my niece, Kayla. She's technically a US citizen. So if she wants to come here for a better education, I think America's schools should provide that for her. She's a citizen, she has that right. And in the end, English speakers also benefit from bilingual classes. And ultimately, I think it would be amazing if it was an option for all students. Like how I said, I felt like it was a privilege. So if parents or that student want the opportunity, I think it would be amazing to have as an option. Like I said, we're in San Diego, California. I don't see what the problem is. Policymakers. Like I said, especially since we live in America, this is a very diverse country. And in this, since that is the case, knowing Spanish actually helps you get a job. So I don't see why policymakers don't see that. Some jobs even pay you extra if you know Spanish, if you're bilingual. So it'd be amazing to have the option for everybody at school. So I think it's important to just keep advocating for future generation and their education, for us Chicanos, Chicanas. You know, we all deserve a fair shot um, in learning, and I think it's just important to keep pushing for this certain topic. Uh, Thank you.